What is going on, YouTube people? Neo here. Little breaking, not news. I'm not going to say breaking news. This broke this morning. I didn't catch it till after I got home from work. But Panini has signed on an exclusive agreement with ONETEAM. And what this has to do with is the newly formed name, image, likeness situation going on in the college sports world that cropped up about 2-3 weeks ago when it finally all went through and college athletes could start basically making money off their name, image and likeness like they should have been able to for the last ever. uh ONETEAM is a group licensor essentially, so they get a bunch of athletes together in one big group, which makes it easier for brands to go to them and say, hey, we would like to license with a large group of athletes for X, Y, or Z product. For sports cards, it makes tons of sense. So Panini has signed an exclusive agreement with ONETEAM. This is not saying that they will have every single college athlete or anything like that. People could still do like what Trevor Lawrence did and go outside the box like he did with Topps. Now, he was already graduated, different story there, or declared for the NFL draft. He was leaving school, so a little different story. But technically, that could happen ahead of time now. And I don't understand the full breakdown yet if it's, how it works with using school likenesses, because Panini also has a deal to use that for some other stuff. And there's a really good article up on Sportico. I'll link to it. It talks about some of the deals that potentially could come out. It mentions, deals with individual teams, individual players, it doesn't say conferences, but I've heard that alluded to as well. Like, is there an SEC set or a Big Ten set or something like that? And this is mostly going to revolve around basketball and football. However, they do mention women's basketball. And the other interesting aspect here, I talked to Sam earlier in the week from Women of the Hobby, and she's pretty in the niche on the Olympic stuff, is that there could be Olympic athletes included in this. So this could potentially be the new outlet for Olympic rookie cards going forward. Now, I've usually been fairly anti-college sports cards, like the draft product that comes out, whether it's for basketball or football. I always completely ignore it. It's one of those things that comes out, the prices do okay, and then the second real cards come out in their professional jerseys, the prices tend to trend down quickly on those products. The interesting thing here is now you're getting the player potentially years before he has a real card. So Trevor Lawrence, for example, you would have had cards for him 2 or 3 years ago. Basketball, it would still just be a year at the time being, because most of these guys that are going pro are only in college for 1 year to meet the minimum requirement, and then they leave. So you'd have a little bit longer runway there. Same with, I would assume they would go after guys in the NBA side of things that go to like the G League Ignite team. Or that go overseas like LaMelo did. I don't know how popular that'll be going forward with the new G League initiative and then the NBA basically paying players directly to come to their university. The interesting part of all this is, and I mentioned this maybe a week ago or so. I don't remember if it was on one of my videos or a live stream or whatever. There's so much content, it all blends together. Do we potentially see, Topps has Bowman, okay? And when MLB prospects get drafted, they show up in Bowman and they have a first Bowman card. And that is considered like a different, then there's like the true rookie that comes out later. So the first Bowman's kind of like its own separate thing. And they may appear in multiple Bowman products, but whatever set they were in first, they get the first Bowman logo up in the corner. Then when they come out in Topps or Topps Chrome or whatever, they get the rookie card logo, and that's, treated as the true rookie. But the first Bowman stuff, in most cases, holds value extremely well, and in almost across the board, holds value better than the Topps or Topps Chrome or whatever it is. Like a first Bowman auto is like the gold standard for a hot young prospect. Is it possible that we see something like that now in football and basketball? Do we see a Trevor Lawrence first Prism or do they come up with some new product? I'm sure they'll, trust me, they will churn out products for this. You will not just get Prism. You'll get Prism NCAA. You'll get Optic. I can only imagine the things that they have on a whiteboard already. But is the first Prism Trevor Lawrence going to be a thing? Will they put a first logo up there in the corner on whatever the flagship product ends up being for college stuff? And on football, they have to stay till their junior year. They could come out as juniors, so they have to play at least 2 to 3 years before they come out. So that's a long time for football for a player. And the NCAA quarterbacks, especially the top tier ones, get a lot of hype. So, as a Trevor Lawrence first Prism auto or something, will that hold value long term, or will it still get trumped when the air quotes real stuff comes out? And we don't know, obviously, and who knows if they're even going to do this, but I have to imagine they would love to steal that idea of a first Bowman style thing for these college players. Do you have a first national treasures? Hopefully they don't go overboard with it, but could you imagine Trevor Lawrence RPAs 3 years ago, or Zion RPAs his first year at Duke? But see, the difference between that is, currently they had to wait for him to leave school before they could put him in collegiate national treasures. But imagine he's in collegiate national treasures back when the season started. Remember the hype around Zion when he was at Duke? So now imagine that there's a first Prism Zion card running around out there, or a first Optic, whatever. I'm very intrigued by if they do something like that, and how does the market receive it? Because at least on the baseball side, and it's definitely apples and oranges here. Baseball has a tradition of these guys are drafted. They're technically professionals at that point, and then they spend time in the minor leagues before they work their way up to the system. It's the natural progression in baseball. Most other sports, basketball, football, you're drafted, and essentially you could be playing 40 minutes a night in the NBA from day one as a 19-year-old. LeBron came straight out of high school. That's the exception, not the rule, but you get the point. Or let's spin this forward. Let's say the 1-year eligibility rules stay into effect, where an NBA player or a college player has to, or a high school player has to go to college for a year before entering the NBA draft. Okay. Bronny James, it's not sure exactly how good he's going to be yet, but I have to imagine he's going to be on NBA radars. Whether he's the top prospect in the draft or, a late lottery pick, whatever, he is going to have a tremendous amount of hype behind him just because of the name. And this could be moot because LeBron typically has a history of taking his clients to Upper Deck and signing exclusive deals with them, and you wouldn't be able to see his autographed product in Panini product. That could change, who knows? But regardless, let's just run with this and sub in any hyped player that you want coming soon. Imagine a Bronny James first Prism Silver rookie card. Obviously it's going to depend on what his prospects pan out like, but just like I said, insert X major name here into that spot. Or a Bronny James RPA from, I don't know, say he had to go to school for a year, Ohio State, wherever they would send him. LeBron's a big Ohio State guy. I don't know if he would send his kid there, or maybe he would just take the money right from the get and go to the G League Ignite. Or maybe you get a G League Ignite RPA. Who knows? So there's just a lot of different ways they could go with this. I think there's a lot of things that still need to shake out. How many players are part of one team, and one team actually is partnered with other smaller groups, it sounds like. So it's going to be a big bulk of players, and there's going to be people that come out of the woodwork. There's guys that come in at the beginning of college football that you don't really hear much about, that aren't super hyped, that's not necessarily a blue chip prospect, and then they turn into a player, just like, guys that come up through the minors. So is there going to be an element of prospecting all of a sudden specifically with college football? I could see it more because the players are there for multiple years. With basketball, it's a little trickier because they're usually one and done if they're that good. Maybe you would have a situation where a guy plays two years and then he really blossoms in the second year. I guess that could happen. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think a lot of it hinges on if they put that first logo on there or something like it. And I think that would be important. And I think it also has interesting ramifications in these side markets, specifically the Olympic stuff. We talked about it with Sam, what Simone Biles cards are going for, and some of these other Olympic athletes. And women's sports in general are becoming a more niche market and more trendy, and prices are reflecting that. So that would be another avenue for that. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm very curious. Do you want to see a first Prism style card, like basically take first Bowman and apply it to basketball and football? Is that something you would want to see? Would you have wanted to go buy Justin Fields cards 2 years ago? And do you think that stuff would hold value if they went that model that I played out there, where there's a first card? Do you think that card would matter once regular Prism comes out, or NT or Optic or Select or whatever? Is a first Prism Silver gonna hold value like a regular silver would of insert X young trendy prospect? I truly don't know, but it's an interesting conversation to have. And if they do it right, I think it could do okay. I don't think it'll reach first Bowman level of respect, because Bowman's been around for 1 billion years. But I think it's interesting, and they will obviously, the printing machines will be running night and day getting this product out, and it says they hope to do stuff as soon as this season. So we may have a feel for this fairly soon. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, comment, sub, all that YouTube stuff. Have a video dropping tomorrow with Ryan from Breakout Cards talking about the card show scene, as he travels to a bunch of them, and we hit on a couple other products, or a couple other conversation pieces. Not sure if I'm gonna have anything for Saturday yet, and then Sunday will be the normal week in review show, as we head and we are looking at the National straight in the eyes as it is rapidly approaching. So smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. We're on the quest for 10K, and we'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.